Greetings, globeheads and flurfers. You know, I have a device in my car that actually proves the globe. Now, actually, I have two cars, and each of my two cars has a device that proves the globe. What I have in my car is Sirius XM satellite radio. Now, this radio gets its signal from a satellite, something that flat earthers tell us does not exist. And there's a reason. You see, in order to have a satellite, you have to have an orbit. And in order to have an orbit, you have to have a globe. So globe deniers must deny the existence of satellites. If you shot something up there over a flat disk, it would come right back down. In fact, I'm still waiting for the flat earthers to explain how their sun and moon stay up there. But now I know flat earthers make an argument that, well, satellites are fake and they fool us by using cell phone towers. So your GPS and your satellite radio, it's all done with cell phone towers, folks. Well, this is simply not true, and you can see for yourself how these devices don't work the same way. You don't have to take my word for it. You don't have to trust me. If you have Sirius XM satellite radio in your car, you can go out and test these things for yourself. The signals don't react in the same way. Now, I've driven clear across the country from one coast to the other, and I often travel between Texas and the West Coast in my car with Sirius XM satellite radio. Now, I prefer the 80s channel, so I could put it on my 80s channel and I can listen to Billy Joel and Duran Duran and Flock of Seagulls and Howard Jones and all that stuff, unlimited, all the way across the country with no interruptions. I can't make this trip without interruptions in my cell phone service. Try talking on your cell phone as you drive across Nevada or Arizona in the middle of nowhere. And I'm not just talking about the freeway. Now, you'll lose signal at places on the freeway. But actually, the cell phone companies try to put towers along the freeways because they know that's where there's going to be people. But get on some of those back roads. You can get out there in the countryside and places where you can be outside of a cell phone signal for 2 hours driving. But your Sirius XM satellite radio is still going to work. Still going to bring you a signal. Because it's not coming from towers. It's coming from the satellite up in the sky. And this is not the only way you can test this. Actually, it's very easy to lose a Sirius XM satellite radio signal. All you have to do is drive under something. Now, if you drive under underpass or something, overpass really quickly, there's actually mechanisms that keep the signal from being interrupted. But try stopping under one. One of the places I go when I drive locally has got a traffic light that's literally underneath a freeway. And whenever I stop under there, radio's dead until I come out of there. And it doesn't even take something as dense as an overpass to block this signal. You can lose your signal driving under a canopy in the forest, driving under trees. These signals are very, very different. The one coming from a satellite far away versus a local signal. Now let's take your local FM radio station. Your local FM radio station has an ambient signal just like you have ambient light. Let's imagine that you're in the park. You're standing under one of these gazebo things. So there's a roof over your head but no walls, just kind of a roof on pillars. The sun can't shine on you because you're under this roof. You can't see the sun. You're not in direct sunlight. But there's plenty of light all over the place, even though the sun is the light source. This ambient light is reflecting off of other things. And that's what you get with your local FM radio station. You get this radio signal, even though it's technically line of sight being FM, it'll bounce around off of things and you'll get this ambient signal. And so you have your FM signal, even when you're under a bridge, under an overpass, you'll still get the signal. But you won't get a satellite signal. Because it's less like that sunlight and more like starlight, where it's very, very far away and a faint signal. Your satellite antenna is made to pick up this very faint signal, but it has to be a direct line of sight. Another example is when I live in a big city. I live in Houston. I can go downtown where there's lots of skyscrapers. Now, I'm driving in and out amongst those skyscrapers. I'm still going to get a local radio station. But at times, I will lose my satellite signal as these tall buildings come between me and the satellite. Another example is a parking garage. And you can test this yourself. Go to the airport. Airport's always got a big parking garage. They've always got plenty of cell phone towers around an airport. It's a place where a lot of people are, and they have to make sure these people get signals to communicate on their cell phone, for loved ones to pick them up and so forth. So you almost always get good cell phone coverage around an airport. Drive into the airport parking garage. You'll be able to drive all over that garage and talk on your cell phone. You'll be able to drive around that garage and get your local FM radio station, no problem at all. Try to get your satellite radio to work there. It's not going to happen at all, because it's not coming from local cell towers. It's coming from the sky, from a satellite in geosynchronous orbit. Now, another argument that I've heard flat earthers make, well, it's the same. I actually had this conversation with a guy. I tried to explain to him, well, look, you drive across the country, you don't lose the signal, but you'll lose your cell phone signal again and again. Explain that. He's like, well, it comes from the same towers, but it's a different signal, and it's much weaker. And why? Why would they do that? Why would they make the cell phone signal weaker so that you would lose it out in the countryside, and have a stronger signal for satellite radio so there's no interruptions? I mean, literally, when you pay a lot more for the cell phone than you do, it's like $12 a month for satellite. And if they can provide satellite service over the entire country for that, why is it for what you're paying for your cell phone on the same tower, they can't provide coverage over the whole area because they choose to use a weaker signal or something? It makes no sense, that argument. No, the satellite signal is different. It's blocked by going under something, and it's not blocked, or it's not lost when you're way out in the wilderness, because it comes from a satellite in geosynchronous orbit, and this can only work on a globe. There's a lot of fun to be had out there on YouTube, folks, but be careful, don't fall for those snake oil salesmen out there. Please hit like and subscribe. Good night.